One day I had texted and hadn't heard back from him. And I got really worried.
My scooter broke down. I went into a depression.
How do you feel about that?
Pretty sad.
And I posted it to show that Kenny's not always happy. Within 24 hours, people had donated over $5,000.
Oh, you're kidding.
And within a week, people had donated $110,000. And Kenny hit 1 million followers. That moment was like, whoa. It only felt right to give back some mobility scooters to veterans. We decided to set up the Patriotic Kenny Foundation.
It has changed my life tremendously.
None of this would have happened without TikTok.
A little snippet of an ad from TikTok. They are right now running ads on U.S. television. That spot titled Patriotic Kenny and Amanda, trying to convince voters to exert pressure on U.S. politicians over the fate of TikTok. A vote's going to be taken this week to decide the fate of the social media company. U.S. House of Representatives could ban TikTok owner ByteDance and give them 6 months to divest the popular app. Not everyone, though, is in agreement with the potential ban. U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump has warned that banning TikTok will only double Facebook's business and perhaps create a monopoly for Facebook and Instagram. But there are so many questions, particularly about the ownership of TikTok. Let's go to Mitch Joel, tech advisor, investor, and the author of Control-Alt-Delete. Hi, Mitch.
Hey, Elias. Thanks for having me.
So should we delete TikTok or should U.S. politicians delete TikTok? What do you say?
I say that we have to take a step back and follow the money, as we always talk about in politics. We have to take a look at the fact that it's not just following the money of these big tech companies, but also the fact that we are in a very hostile and hot political season in the U.S. as well. U.S. relations with China speak to another very popular platform that these politicians are using to persuade the citizens to vote for them in particular. And this becomes a really difficult question, even for me to answer, in the face of what we would call free speech. And then a topic you and I have discussed several times over the past couple of years, as Google backs away from news and Facebook backs away from news, where do we get our news? Mm-hmm. And we have to remember, Facebook is also Instagram. Google is not just search, but it goes into YouTube as well, ownership. So now we're in a very precarious situation as a society looking to access information.
Is the ownership of TikTok, is it really something that is concerning?
I think it's concerning based off of the information we're given. I also believe it's hard to understand the information we're given. If it's owned by ByteDance, which it is out of China, but there are no servers of any of the videos being posted with data going back to China that are based in other areas of the world, including places like the US, Canada, Singapore, and beyond. Their CEOs from Singapore. Is it true that they're still accessing this data? Is it true when we're being told that they're accessing this data? What is this data that they're accessing? Is it simply the ability to post videos higher in the algorithm that might make us change our political assumptions? Is it having a lot of in-depth information about what our locations are and what we're watching, what we're doing, and using that as a tool to influence and create propaganda in others? It's a very, very, very complex spider web that we now find ourselves in.
Mitch, do you fall under the group of people that believe that if TikTok wants to, they can influence politics and culture wars? And this is part of the concern that, okay, ownership leads to China. China can decide, let's create division in U.S. society and through algorithms, split people up so that they're on opposite sides on every issue. Do you believe that TikTok actually has that power?
I think they have that power in as much as any other large media provider has. Absolutely. I think they have that power at a depth of which probably more traditional media companies don't have because of their access to being digital first, mobile, having a lot of more in-depth information than even, let's say, CJAD might have on listeners. That's a definite reality. We also have to look at the other side. The other side is what we know as the Great Firewall of China, that a lot of the information that's created outside of China doesn't even get seen inside of China because of how they banned whatever information they want to ban based off of their own political views. So it would be very naive of me to not feel that there couldn't be a reverse firewall of China.
Yeah. And to me, what's fair is fair. With Mitch Joel, tech advisor, investor, author of Control Alt Delete, we're talking about a proposal to ban TikTok in the U.S. What's fair is fair, Mitch. If China lets Facebook and Instagram into the country, sure, TikTok, have at it, right? But it never seems to go both ways, does it, on that end?
It doesn't. And I'd also make the argument that here we sit in a democracy, and I think we would want the free flow of information. My biggest concern and counterance to what I'm feeling of this is very dangerous territory is I think it's even more dangerous when we have internet content, which is fundamentally global, now being relegated by geography. I'd be very uncomfortable with the banning of it state by state. I'd be very uncomfortable with the banning of it in the US, not in Canada. This all creates, to me, border-based division of content that I think is inherently worse than maybe what China might be doing with my dance videos, of which I have none.
Is the proposal that says TikTok can exist, TikTok, you can do whatever you want, but you've got to be American-owned. Is that proposal a fair one?
I think it's reasonable in the context of what America is worried about. I think it's unreasonable for it to be purely American-owned. I think if there was an external international contingency that might include Canadians and others, Kevin O'Leary, famed Canadian Dragons Den individual, has been talking a lot about wanting to create some partnership to buy it. We've seen even conversations between Activision and OpenAI to create some type of partnership. We have to understand that if that were to happen, it might be one of the largest sales and or acquisitions we've probably ever seen because of the mass popularity of TikTok. Again, the web of problems in this one issue continues. And I'm also very worried in watching the speed of which this is moving through the government. If we look at the last time this was done to this time, this has been from Capitol Hill going to a bipartisan Congress, now heading over to the House floor and Senate in no time at all. And yet when it comes to other issues, whether it's abortion, gun control, safety, healthcare, beyond, what takes years and years?
Mitch, that's key here, right? Think about issues that now get bipartisan support. This seems to buck that trend. For some reason on this, Republicans and Democrats are in agreement. Why?
Follow the money, follow the politics. Yeah. This is a check mark in the international politics of we're not going to let China push us around. It's a checkbox in the side of we can bring a great amount of revenue and data into the US, which would be one of the most significant media acquisitions of all time. It's really weird to watch this unfold. You had Trump, by the way, leading the cause of it being anti-China, needs to be owned by America. And then as soon as he sees the bipartisanship on, he jumps to the side of, Facebook and Meta is the enemy of the people here. This is a complex issue that I know people probably look at this and think, well, TikTok, it's just fun. And I love watching TikTok as much as the next person. Yeah. But if you don't zoom out and look at the geopolitical situation, the political situation in the US, why is Canada so quiet on this? Yeah. We've just been talking about the news. We've just been talking about language and what children should have access to in the latest media bill that's being brought forward. I haven't really seen Canada's stance on TikTok on any of this. And you would think if it's floating through a bipartisan Congress in the U.S. that we'd have some type of stance on this.
The relationship with China for Canada is far different from the U.S. And we've seen for whatever reason it is, we've seen a lack of willingness from this federal government to deal with some of those interference issues when it comes to that. Mitch, got to leave it there. Always a pleasure talking to you. Take care.
It's an unfolding story. Thanks, Elias.
Tech advisor, investor, and author, Mitch Joel.